Don't move to Federal Way, Washington unless you can handle these 5 things. A lot of people are considering moving to Federal Way in 2026 because it looks great on paper. It's located between Seattle and Tacoma. It's often viewed as a more affordable alternative to Seattle, Bellevue, and even parts of South King County. You get larger homes, more diversity, access to Puget Sound, and a central location. But there are some realities about living here that don't always show up online. This is not a negative video. I live and work in this area. Many people absolutely love Federal Way. But before you move here, you need to understand the challenges. So let's get to it.
Let's get it. Go.
Federal Way has a population of just over 100,000 people. It's located about 25 miles south of Seattle and about 10 miles north of Tacoma. It's often marketed as a more affordable alternative to Seattle and Bellevue. That's why so many buyers relocating to Washington end up looking here. But here's what you need to be prepared for. Fact number 1 is housing cost. Federal Way is less expensive than Seattle and Bellevue, but don't confuse that with cheap. The median home value is roughly in the mid-600,000 range, depending on the source and neighborhood. Average rents are running from $1,800 to $1,900 per month for apartment. Washington doesn't have a state income tax, which helps, but housing still represents the biggest expense for more families. A lot of people moving here expecting massive savings compared to Seattle. Then they realize homes in desirable neighborhoods like Twin Lake, Redondo, and Northeast Tacoma adjacent areas still come with a significant price tag. If you're prepared for that, great, but don't assume Federal Way is a bargain just because it's south of Seattle. Fact number 2 is the weather. And no, I'm not talking about snow. I'm talking about the gray. That's right. Federal Way typically see mild temperatures throughout the year, but it also get a lot of cloudy and rainy days. The temperatures usually range from the upper 30s in winter to the mid 70s in summer. For many people moving from California, Arizona, Texas, or Nevada, the lack of sunshine during the winter months can be a shock. People imagine Washington is green because of all the trees. Well, the reason it's green is because of the rain. The upside is you don't deal with hurricanes, tornadoes, or extreme heat. But if endless gray skies affect your mood, that's something you need to think about. Fact number 3 is transportation. On paper, Federal Way has access to Interstate 5, Highway 18, and growing public transportation options. But in reality, traffic can be rough if you're commuting to Seattle during rush hour. That drive can easily stretch well beyond what Google's maps tell you during non-peak hours. Highway 18 and I-5 are known congestion points for Seattle King County commuters. And while public transportation continues to improve, most residents still rely heavily on their vehicles. In many neighborhoods, you still need a car for everyday errands. If you work remotely, this may not matter much. But if you're driving 5 days a week, pay attention to this one. Fact number 4 is the layout of the city. Federal Way has over 100,000 residents, but it doesn't have a traditional downtown like Tacoma, Seattle, or Bellevue. Instead, much of the city is made up of shopping centers, residential neighborhoods, commercial corridors, and suburban developments. Many residents travel to Seattle, Tacoma, Kent, Auburn, or Bellevue for major sporting events, concert, nightlife, and entertainment. For some people, that's perfect. They want a quieter place to live and don't mind driving for fun. For others, it feels spread out. You need to decide which category you fall into. Fact number 5 is infrastructure. Many neighborhoods in Federal Way were developed between 1970s and the 1990s. That means buyers may encounter aging roof, original plumbing, and older electrical systems and deferred maintenance depending on the property. Like much of Western Washington, Federal Way also sits in an earthquake-prone region. So when you're buying a home, inspections matter a lot. These aren't deal breakers, but they are things you need to understand before writing an offer. Here are a few additional realities. Federal Way is one of the most diverse cities in Washington. It has more than 100,000 residents and continues to grow. Many residents commute outside the city for work. Property crime rates are higher than many buyers expect, particularly vehicle theft, so pay attention to neighborhood-specific crime trends is important. The city is home to major attractions like the Pacific Bonsai Museum, Dash Point State Park, and the newly opened Pickler Federal Way, one of the largest indoor pickleball facility in the region. Between the freeway access and the new light rail connection, Federal Way feels a lot more connected than it used to. Now, none of this means Federal Way is a bad place to live. Far from it. Many people love the diversity. They love the location between Seattle and Tacoma. They love the larger lot size compared to Seattle, and they love the established neighborhoods. The question isn't whether Federal Way is good or bad. The question is whether it fits your lifestyle and budget. Before moving to Federal Way, ask yourself 4 questions. Can I comfortably afford the housing long term? Can I handle months of gray weather? Does the commute realistically work for my schedule? Am I comfortable with an older house stock and suburban layout? If the answer is yes, Federal Way could be a fantastic fit. If those are deal breakers, you may want to look at nearby cities like Auburn or Puyallup. If you're thinking about moving to Federal Way, South King County, or anywhere in the Seattle area and want real-world advice, not just what you see on Zillow, I love to help. I'm Evonne Brank with the Brank Home Team. We create new videos every Friday covering neighborhoods, relocation tips, market updates, and what it's really like to live in Washington. If you're thinking about making a move, schedule a consultation using the link below. And as always, thank you for watching. I'll see you in the next video.